The following presentation is a production of WLWstudios.com. Listening to the Midnight Jury on WLWstudios.com, along with our own Midnight Jury feeds on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and TuneIn Radio. We're coming to you out of Philadelphia, and I am your 21st Century Broadcasting Marvel, Midnight Mike Norenganger, along with Adam Kenning and Calvin Brody. Now, moving along.
I actually was going to go with myself, introducing myself as overly analytical Adam Henning, because for the life of me, I couldn't.
The first time I decided to cut you off?
Yeah. This was the wrong time, because I can't think of anything with Ghostbusters. Then Slimer went through my head, and then I drew up, what could I do with Ghostbusters?
I'm once again distracted by the fact that we have the video cast going on that you can check out on YouTube. You can check out intros to shows that are now available on YouTube, so you can see us, which is incredible. But also, back from his 3-week vacation is
your very best pal, Calvin Brody.
All right, guys. It's been a while since we've all been together. This is actually the first time that we've all been together in the new studio.
Yeah, this is my first time in the studio, yeah.
Very nice.
Welcome back, Cal.
Thank you. We're going to crack a beer for that one.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know, speaking of beer, what makes the English drink their beer warm?
Well, I prefer.
I just got this out of the freezer. So there's like a literal sheet of ice.
I prefer water warm. So, I could see where maybe they're coming from.
I don't prefer water warm.
Not warm. I like it. I don't like it cold, though.
Yeah, if it's
too cold, it hurts my teeth.
Exactly. Or we'll give you a brain freeze.
A little bit of that, too, yeah. But I definitely like it colder than, say, room temperature.
Room temperature is my preferred.
See, the thing is with water, I don't want it to be super cold when I'm super thirsty and have to chug it.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, Rah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if I want to chug it, I just, turn on the faucet, whatever, boom.
Yeah, no, I'm typically just, I try to drink. If you take one sip every time you take a swig from a big bottle like this, you're wasting a lot of energy. So I tend to take several swigs.
You're not for wasting energy. No.
Yeah, no, so I prefer room temperature, because I just went against what I just said by taking one swig, but so I'll take several swigs to counteract that.
So last week's show, which was when Adam and I did Beach Blast 93, last week's show, we recorded right before the DNC here in Philadelphia, and I feel like it would be wrong for me not to mention the fact that the DNC was here in Philadelphia. And I have one question for you guys and everyone out listening or watching. Have you ever noticed that the social justice warriors that just flooded Philadelphia over the past last week, for 4 days? Have you ever noticed not only do they smell, and I wrote this on Twitter a week or two ago, but they smell like BO, which is understandable.
Definitely just shook the camera. Right.
Oh, sorry.
No, that was me.
Oh, okay. They smell like BO, but they also smell like dirt and grass. And I don't mean dirty dirt. I mean like you go out
just like dirt,
like dirt and grass.
Like you go to a baseball field.
Yeah, and you get tackled.
Yeah. That's a summer smell.
I haven't been
but it's not a good smell.
But shouldn't be coming off a person.
I'm not saying it's a good smell.
Exactly.
It just smells like, I don't know, I can't explain it. It smells like dirt and grass. Dying grass.
I think you are unique among us. Maybe I'm wrong, Cal. Tell me if I am. I've never been around. I wouldn't know how to pick out a social justice warrior necessarily.
It's really easy. The guys,
they'll let you know. Don't worry.
The guys will sometimes be wearing a flat-brimmed hat, but it's trendy looking. Maybe it's one of the. Maybe it has the plastic backing, and it's one of those trucker hats, but it says Bernie on it, or whatever. But they usually have a beard.
Are we talking about just hipsters?
Pretty much close, yeah. The women mostly, a lot of them will have real short hair, but almost always colored. And like stockings under short shorts, and usually they're not attractive, and usually they're rotund. Not always.
That was diplomatic.
Not always.
Okay, so sort of your alternative lifestyle types. Your Philly, like
They're very they're
AIDS thrift store.
Yeah.
yes,
The
but
girls
everyone
that work there.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, exactly.
or the girls that work at
Fucking.
I don't want to say it. The waitresses. I don't want to say the name. We go in all the
Yeah, but I
time.
think
no, I wouldn't put them in. I don't think in the same group.
You
necessarily.
dare! I went in the other day to get a nice mocha, and the girl had armpit hair,
Oh well, that's
and that's something that is
be a
unacceptable.
Paula Cole
There may be
fan.
one or two of those, but the girls that work there are typically fairly attractive.
There's
I
one or
find
two.
myself erect when I go there. Not necessarily.
That's
at
not
AIDS
where we were
thrift,
trying to go with that.
I think those girls are a little bit.
They're the better looking
Classier.
of the social justice
Yeah.
left. But yeah, they really infiltrated Philly this week, and just it was
Gross.
bad.
Just
it was
gross.
bad.
Yeah, I don't. I've never been around enough of them at one time to be like, oh, well, of course these types of people smell like BO.
It's BO mixed with dirt and grass.
And a little bit of grass and dirt. No, I mean, I'd imagine it's because they
Well, most social justice warriors are
Spend
allergic
a lot
to
of-
soap, so that's understandable that they have the BO.
don't they like to sit on the grass though,
Yeah,
and
like
and
drum
go
circles.
to parks and stuff.
Yeah,
It's just like hippy dippy nonsense.
yeah,
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to talk about is now that we know that the jury party is running for, president, Norenganger Henning 16. 2 weeks ago, I was wearing my Norenganger Henning shirt. I thought about it, and you know how the Democrats have a donkey or an
Yeah.
ass,
Yeah.
and then the
Ass.
Republicans have an elephant?
Yes.
What do you think our animal would be?
Lizard comes to mind.
Why a lizard?
Dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
See, but the thing,
The only
dinosaur.
thing I thought right away was
Like I thought rhino for some reason. For some reason, rhinoceros popped in.
Yeah, that
Or like
works.
alligator.
well, I thought American
Alligator.
bulldog.
American bulldog. A
Yeah.
fucking
Like
bald
the-
eagle. A bald eagle fucking.
a bald eagle,
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
That's too generic though.
But it's American.
Is it though? Is it
Yeah.
though?
It's on every. I think we need something new. So I mean, I think the alligator.
Like an eagle riding a rhinoceros, surfing on an alligator.
Absolutely.
But that covers all bases, right?
Well, what
there.
I would
Like a
like is if
man-bear pig,
anybody
but
listening
not.
cares enough, or watching cares enough, I'd like them to take those suggestions we all just gave them, and maybe we can come up with something, and then I'll make a similar, logo for the jury party. Say like vote jury party, and it'll have that logo in the middle.
Like, talk to the hand.
Like talk to the hand, or like loser, right across your chest.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
We need to be everyone is represented by an animal
No. I
Spirit
for
animal.
some reason.
no. It's we want. I would imagine that we'd want the animal to have a certain level of intensity or like ferocity. But
Well, yeah. If you're gonna go with like a pigeon, it's got to be
Yeah.
something.
Oh yeah, it's got to be a tough animal. We're not anyone watching or listening. We're not doing some like gay
It'd
animal
be
like
funny
a dolphin.
If it was a goldfish, it wouldn't be
it's
funny.
not gonna
and
be
that's
that.
a terrible suggestion. You shouldn't make it.
but
But I do feel like it should be an animal that is synonymous with the United States. Like I know an elephant isn't, and I don't understand that.
Yeah.
A
just feel like-
donkey, I guess,
Yeah.
but I more think of like burros.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think like Central South America.
yeah, I mean, my vote would not be for the bald eagle just because it's.
Did you hate America?
It's just so
You hate
generic.
freedom- you hate the
It's-
freedom
it's
it represents?
Every American, every piece of imagery inspired by the idea of the USA or America has a bald eagle in it. I just feel like it'd be redundant. I like the idea of it, of course, but it's just like, I don't know.
I'm still throwing my support between the American bulldog. Just I think
No,
a
that-
cool bulldog's head.
I was gonna say, and I think it'd be cool if. I think another thing is maybe the mascot not being the most brutish, like over the top, like crazy animal. Like I said, dinosaur. Like I think a bulldog is sort of in the middle of those two concepts. It's something that's kind of hardcore.
It's like the concept is like make America badass again, so it's got to be something
It has to be a tough animal.
kind of badass.
But a bulldog is.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't think the animal should connotate destruction like a dinosaur would.
Fair enough.
It's like we don't want to fuck shit up. We want to fix.
But we do want to fuck shit up. We want to fuck shit up
But we want to fix
so that
things
it's good. So
ultimately.
yeah,
I think a bulldog is
we want
reserved
to
enough.
fuck things up, fix them up.
Yeah.
Like that.
I think a bulldog
To
could
fix
do
'em.
those things.
And I don't know if I do the body. Like they have the body of the elephant and the body of the donkey. I think I do the head. Like
I kind of
the
like
straight
the
on
idea
head.
of sort
On like a
of-
person's body, like a muscular
Maybe
person's
like a
body.
griffin's body.
I kind of like the idea of the bulldog kind of sitting there and is ready to strike if necessary, but it's sort of, what's the word for some sort of classy,
Tact?
yeah. The bulldog should have tact and the ability to be ferocious.
I don't know that tact would be.
You
Well,
mean,
either
right?
way, anyone listening or watching, feel
Very
free to
tired.
write at us on Twitter at Midnight Jury and give us your suggestion on what you think the jury party's spirit animal should be. Other than that, I do want to get into the fact that this week we were going to do it a week or two ago, but we're finally getting into 1984's Ghostbusters.
God, finally.
Finally. And with the 2016 all-female-led Ghostbusters in theaters now failing miserably.
Poise.
Is it failing miserably?
Wait, I'm sorry. I think the word I was looking for was poise.
Okay.
What does that mean?
He carries himself with a certain level of grace,
Yes.
Yes.
like bulldogs do.
They kind of do, don't they? Like they're kind of badass, but they're not like pit bulls.
We should do an American Bully, Pitbull.
See, a pit bull, I think is it's just too much. Like, rah, rah.
But they don't have to be.
We're not retarded, and I
Pit bulls are not
Apparently.
retarded.
Yeah,
I've known some
not retarded.
adorable pit bulls.
no, they're
In my
adorable,
time.
but they're also kind of like
They're kind of like
badass.
loose cannons. They're like you never know quite where they're coming from. You know, like oh, I'll pet you real nice. Oh, you bit my child's face off? Yeah,
They mean
that's kind of how the
No.
jury party is.
they mean
Like-
so many different things. Anyway, I'm sorry. What were you? Ghostbusters.
Yeah, 1980,
Is-
1984's Ghostbusters. I know Cal has seen. Have you seen the new Ghostbusters? Cal's seen the new Ghostbusters.
I have.
Is it bombing?
Yeah,
I don't think
no,
is
it
it
is.
bombing?
It
Is
absolutely
really?
is. I don't think
it had a fairly strong opening.
It had came in second on its opening weekend.
Yeah, it lost to fucking
The-
Secret Life of Pets
Yeah,
or whatever.
And then I think it dropped to like fourth on its second weekend and dropped dramatically in the amount of money it was
Really?
brought in. And I think I think this might be the third weekend when we're recording this, or like whatever the last weekend was. It was their third weekend out, and I think they still haven't made their money back on the
Really?
movie. Yeah.
What did you think of it, Cal?
I liked it more than I thought I was going to. There are certain parts of it that are absolutely kind of just like eye roll worthy, where you're like, oh, okay. Like, the whole thing was like, you shouldn't judge this movie because it's an all-female cast, but then they do things that you would only do if you have an all-female cast. So it's like, I don't want to spoil it, but like there's one specific part towards the end where something happens that you wouldn't necessarily see even if it was a mixed gender cast. Well, you would probably still see it if it was a mixed gender cast.
No, you wouldn't.
You probably would, because the men would probably go for the logical things and it wouldn't work, and the women would have to be like, we'll do this, and that would work.
I
But
don't think they do it in a mixed cast.
but you wouldn't see it in an all-male cast, certainly. Like I said, definitely not as bad as the trailers.
How do you know what he's talking about?
Well, I've watched a bunch of reviews on it, and I was contemplating going to see it because I don't mind that it's an all-female cast, although that is pandering.
Certainly pandering. That was never my
There should have been. Here's how the movie should have been done. It should have been the third team of Ghostbusters. To all the point is, you don't even need Murray Ackroyd or any of them to even make cameos.
Yeah.
But if you're going to make them their old characters,
Yeah.
don't make New York completely oblivious to the fact that there's ghosts to start the movie. You could have had it as simple to explain the backstory as they walk into the Ghostbusters firehouse or whatever and look up on the wall, and there's the picture of the original Ghostbusters. Then there's a picture of a cast of four that you don't know who they are, and then there's a picture of them. Then all of a sudden you're opening yourself up to a franchise, and all of a sudden the next movie could be about who was that second group of Ghostbusters between the Aykroyd Murray Ghostbusters and the Kristen Wiig Melissa McCarthy Ghostbusters.
And then it would also make it less.
And they also should have not made it an all-female cast.
Well, I think just based on what you were saying, that there's multiple generations of Ghostbusters. If you're going based off that premise, it makes it less like kind of shocking that all of a sudden they switched the gender completely to women. Where in the scenario that you named, it's like, well, if there's going to be over the course of 100 years, 5 or 6 different incarnations of the Ghostbusters, sure, one of those is all women. Many of them are all male. One of them may be all black. One of them may have 2 Chinese people, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. It could be any mix-up. That doesn't bother me. But it's almost like, just like there wouldn't be an all-male Ghostbusters in 2016, there wouldn't be an all-female Ghostbusters in 2016.
Yeah.
And not only that, I'm very sick and tired. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen them, but YouTube music commercials are the most PC thing you'll ever see.
Oh, really?
I've seen 5 of them. All 5 of them have mixed racial couples. One of them has a transvestite where they zoom down to his pants and you can almost see his junk. But it's like he's a girl.
What is it? The commercials
I like
for
looking
what?
pretty up
YouTube
top,
music.
but I like showing my
If I could
dong
not
down
put
below.
this on YouTube I would, and there was another outlet that was just as big as YouTube, I would do it, but there's not.
Yeah.
YouTube is so pandering. They're so PC.
That's Google.
They're so
That's old.
It's pathetic, and I have not seen one commercial of like 2 white people. It's always like there's one where like this woman comes out and she just looks like a regular I think, or no, was it a dad or no? I think it was a mom, and she looked like a regular, just white lady, and she comes out. And waiting on the car for her is this very black dude and a black baby. And they're like, Mommy! And they all run and hug and whatever. And this is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But to do it on every commercial you do when mixed racial couples, transvestites, all these minority groups are just that. They're minority groups. So it's okay to have an all-black family.
Yeah.
Or an all-white family, or an all-Asian family, or an all-whatever family. That's okay. They exist. They're actually the majority.
Yeah.
So I'm just getting so sick of it. And I think female Ghostbusters, the reason it looks so obvious is because you don't need to change men to women. You don't need to change white characters to black characters. Did you hear about The Rocketeer?
I know they're remaking it.
Yeah, and the rumor is it's a black woman going to be The Rocketeer. And it's like, you don't need to do this. And more proof was when I just saw the Comic-Con release last week or whatever of Wonder Woman, the Wonder Woman trailer. There's your women power. Which not only is it Wonder Woman, but she comes from an entire culture of women.
Whole island.
Powerful women. Like, there are these characters out there. You don't need to just change every male character to a minority or a woman.
No, you're right.
It's getting so fucking frustrating.
When you do that, it completely distracts from
the movie
itself.
Absolutely.
So when this new Ghostbusters venture was announced, all anybody was talking about, whether you're on the side of yes, great, it should be for women, or whether you're on the side of why does it have to be for women? Like, why does it have to be such a stark contrast to the original? Why are they remaking
Well, that's another thing. Why are they remaking it? From every review I've seen, it almost seems like it's, and I know it's not, but it almost seems like, and Cal can give his 2 cents. It sounds like it's a shot-for-shot remake. Now I know it's not a shot-for-shot remake, but like the black character comes in at the same time. The black character is almost treated the same at the same time. Cal was talking about how they go to the mayor's office and say, Mayor, you got to do this or the city is going to be destroyed. It's like, you've already had that scene. They go in they have a warehouse just like the original Ghostbusters. They have the same. They just so happen to get a hearse also like the original Ghostbusters. Why are you doing that? Why couldn't you just make it a sequel? And, it didn't need to be called Ghostbusters 3, but it could have been called Ghostbusters. And all of a sudden, it has this new cast of it could be 3 women and 1 dude. It could be 2 women and 2 dudes. It could be, a black, a white, Hispanic,
3
and an
men
Asian.
and 1 lady.
Yeah, it could be 2 girls,
Living
1
in a
cup.
firehouse,
I don't care. But my point being is that by ignoring the original movie, what's the even point of having Aykroyd and Murray make cameos?
Wait. Okay. Name a predominantly like a predominantly black franchise, like movie franchise.
Like Medea, like Tyler Perry Presents.
Maybe with maybe Barbershop, right?
Okay.
Or Fridays.
I'm not sure how many Barbershop or Fridays. I'm not sure how many of those movies there are, but let's say we're going to do Friday Part 3. And this time we're going to do an all-white cast, but they're going to act like the characters act in the Friday movies.
I would go to see that.
But then
that would be hilarious.
But we're going to act like, no, they just happen to be white people this time, but they're the same type, the same idea. And then
It's the same spirit of the first movie.
Yeah, even though we're saying, hey, no, everybody, don't pay any attention to that. It's still
going to be 4 white Jewish women. Barbershop. Barbershop 4.
Don't pay attention to that.
It's a mitzvah.
You guys will love this movie if you like the other Fridays. The story will nonetheless be that they recasted the black cast of Friday with white Jewish women or white guys. That would be the story. So thus, that became the story of the remake of Ghostbusters. That will be the story of The Rocketeer. We're not talking about The Rocketeer's coming back. Woohoo! We're talking about The Rocketeer is coming back and is played by a black woman. It's not the fact
the
that
woohoo wouldn't have been the reaction no matter what with the Rocketeer. Are any of us that excited?
I think I've only seen it once, like when I was younger, and I was like, all right, whatever.
No, but let's say a Rocketeer fan, but
I know it is a loved movie, though.
Even that Rocketeer fan is going to be talking about how they went in such a different direction with the casting, and it's not that anybody has a problem with it being a black woman. It's just a weird type of move to make.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
No, I agree with that
anything.
completely.
It's not wrong. It's not
because they tell you not to focus on that, but they make that the selling point of the movie.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I saw it, I didn't like it. Oh, because it was a black woman? No, well, because the story felt tacked on and it actually wasn't as good as the original. Well, you got to let the original go. It's not for you. That's my favorite argument. The new Ghostbusters isn't for people that like Ghostbusters.
It's not for
it's
you,
not
Cal.
for you. You already got 2 movies. You already got cartoons. You got comics. You got video games.
This is for people who like
not
bad
for you.
movies.
It's for little girls that are growing up and need heroes.
That's what I can't understand is.
And that's what it is. If you don't like the Ghostbusters movie, it's because you don't want to see little girls grow up to be successful.
Yeah, except for the fact that
lie and
there
cheat
are
and steal their way to
so
the top.
many movies with female heroes.
What if? Okay, this goes along the lines of what you were saying, but I think it would. To me, I think it would nullify the effect that the
Looks like
remake.
I pissed my pants.
Yeah, it does. It smells like it too.
I think it would nullify the effect.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes. I think
He's just pissing away, folks. It's gross.
I think it would nullify the effect that the movie has had as far as like the reaction to the women or the all women cast. What if these female Ghostbusters were the daughters of the original Ghostbusters? Like each of them all happen to have a daughter.
Really, what I
make
think
it
would
a
have been,
new movie.
What would have been a better idea would have been the Ghostbusters 1 and 2 happened, but since then there hasn't really been any sort of real kind of activity. Then you could still have Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig play the characters they do. They're also kind of these scientists and kind of delve into the supernatural a little bit. But when they start to get the idea to Ghostbust, they go to, or they don't even have to, all the original Ghostbusters, they don't even have to be their daughters. One of them, they go to Dan Aykroyd and they say, hey, we know that you guys used to do this and it looks like, according to our science, there's an uptick in paranormal activity. I feel like, it seems like it's going to be a lot of the same thing. We need your help. And he says something like, we don't do that anymore. And it's because Egon got killed on the job. How can you bust ghosts when you're not sure that one of your teammates isn't going to come back as one of those ghosts? We don't do that anymore. You can take the equipment if you want, but we're not going to do that. And so they take the equipment and fucking do the Ghostbuster thing.
Look at how we just came up with 2 stories that
Right?
were better than what they came up with.
No, yeah,
and how
all
long
of them.
we've been doing this intro for about 23 minutes. And boom.
Yeah.
And
It would've
keep
worked.
in mind, the whole first half we were talking about the DNC. So it's been about 10 minutes to 15 minutes, and we came up with 2 stories that are better than the Ghostbusters movie.
The last thing I'll say
2016.
is just
Parentheses.
it's just on the subject of remakes in general, I can't stand how movie franchises such as Ghostbusters, such as Halloween, that were so expansive, that had so many spin-off books, so many countless things are rebooted. Like, it really pisses me off that all that came before is basically, as far as the movie studio is telling you, it's sort of
It's fan fiction.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Yep.
And I think, like, in the 80s, when in the 70s or 80s or even the 90s, when they remade movies from the 50s or 60s or movies that came before, they didn't have those types of built-in franchises around them.
Correct.
So
sequels didn't start really becoming prominent until like the late 70s. In the 80s.
Yeah, well, I mean, you had various James Bond movies, which they were technically sort of sequels, and some were prequels, I guess. And so, I mean, but they weren't necessarily billed as like James Bond 4.
No, but especially in the 80s, sequels blew up.
Yeah.
I mean,
mostly because of horror movies. But
I mean, also with Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Gremlins, Ghostbusters. I mean, everything had a sequel in the 80s.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about even, like, you're not a RoboCop fan, but even
RoboCop, Police Academy.
RoboCop.
Like, there's just so many.
Like, I'm a fan of the RoboCop franchise, but now that a RoboCop reboot came out, those movies are sort of just back catalog, like $5 DVD bin material that is kind of just forgotten about. It's really upsetting, and I hope maybe it'll be the case. I mean, do you think that'll happen with Ghostbusters, or do you think that this movie has flopped enough where
this movie won't be remembered more than the original, in my opinion?
No, it certainly isn't. There's nothing that I don't know. Like, the original is dated when you watch it, but at the same. I don't know. It's like it's timeless at the same time.
But see, we would have said the same thing about Halloween, that Rob Zombie's Halloween is shit compared to the original. But there is
well, the first one I liked. I actually didn't see the second one.
Don't bother.
That's what I hear.
Compared to the original, though.
Well, yeah. I mean,
like to us, it's like no contest. But there is a large majority of younger people who are more familiar with Rob Zombie's Halloween. So it's almost like it's such a problem for the studio to go back, if they wanted to, and resume from the old series. And like you talked to me about it recently, how they're trying to do that with Halloween, how they're trying to do a sequel off the original canon. Is that right?
All I know about the new one is that it's going to be John Carpenter.
Okay.
And from what I've heard, they're bouncing around that it would happen. I think they would make it happen after Halloween 2.
Of the original canon.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure, though. This is all thrown up in the air. The only thing that's solidified is that John Carpenter is going to have something to do with it.
Okay, fair enough, but even just the idea of them having to go to the original canon and then having, like, it's a nightmare.
So, like, no Thorn, no...
Well, like, they've already fucked that up, because they with H2O, they basically kind of retconned.
Oh, really?
Anything after 2, H2O and Resurrection kind of retcon.
Really?
Yeah, like they don't acknowledge
I haven't
it.
Seen those,
it contradicts it in certain ways.
4 doesn't necessarily. It doesn't necessarily contradict 4.
It's really strange that 4 wouldn't come up in H2O. Like, it doesn't directly contradict it, but it's like they basically ignore it. And it's sort of like, it's upsetting to people who like 4.
Because I don't think they say, I love 4. But I don't think they say that she'd never had a daughter, but I don't think they say that she did.
No, I know.
But they do say she died in a car accident.
But it's the type of thing that they would have
Which you would found, I think you found out in 4. And then they covered in H2O that her character was killed in a car accident.
So they kind of... But then, like, how the idea of her having a daughter, a biological daughter, that was eventually killed by Michael Myers, like, how does that not come up in H2O or Resurrection? So they may have, whatever the case may be. My point is that with the new Halloween movie, it has to be a nightmare for the studio to think about, wait, we have so many hardcore Halloween fans that like the original canon, but then we have the majority of younger people who know Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. So either way you go, you're alienating people, and I think that's what reboots ultimately do. Like, can you picture that?
If they run this new Halloween in any way off the Rob Zombie Halloweens, I won't be going to see it.
No, I know.
I don't care. I don't even care that John Carpenter would be doing it.
But they may be appealing to a smaller audience by doing so, which is the harsh and disappointing reality.
Yeah. I mean, I think the people who would be like, oh, a Halloween movie, I want to go see that, who liked the Rob Zombie movie and really never took the time out, like the casual fan.
Yeah.
I think that they would go see anything with the name Halloween on it. So whether it was attached to the original canon or not, they'd go to it.
Hopefully.
Whereas the hardcore fans would probably only go. Most of them would only go to see it if it was based off the original movies.
No, either way,
because the Halloween 2 was just so bad.
Either way, it just makes it messy and problematic. So that if the studio who owns the rights to Ghostbusters ever wants to go back to the original canon, the fact that they made a reboot just makes it so much more difficult and messy now.
Yeah.
And it's just really, it really sucks.
All right, well, we got to end this intro because this is one of the longer intros, and actually our longest intro we've done so far on Videocast on YouTube. So we are, of course, available on Facebook and Twitter, both at Midnight Jury. If you want to get in touch with any of the three of us, you go to Midnight Jury on Twitter. It's that simple. If you want to follow all the comings and goings on Facebook or Twitter for WLW Studios, you go to at WLW Studios on both. And of course, we want you to make sure, please, go over to iTunes, leave a positive 5-star review telling everybody how great the Midnight Jury is. That would really help us out. That's it. When we come back, we're going to be doing 1984's Ghostbusters here on the Midnight Jury. But here, even though we've done this in the past, and I don't think it was too recent past, it's got to be played a second time for TV Show Theme of the Week. It's the real Ghostbusters.